let's get started setting up some percent problems. So we're going to take this process very slowly. We're just going to practice setting up percent problems, and then we'll practice working percent problems. In every instance, we're going to follow what we learned in the previous video by using the proportion formula, even though there are other ways to do it, and if you've learned the other way, it's fine. But we really just want to be able to work it and get our test and pass our test, okay? And remember these things that we talked about before, and remember we talked about the percent sign is a code for that number to be over 100, which is the formula that we are using. So we're going to be following the problems that are in the GED Kaplan book, which is a really super good book to have. It's got a lot of good practice problems to work, and they're very easy to find. Even your library may have one. Now, if you're working with me, we're working on, it's under the ratio, proportion, and percent, and we're working on lesson 2. And all we're going to do is be setting these problems up. We're not going to be working any math on these, but we have to know how to set them up before we can learn how to work them. So before you get started, I want you to take your notebook, and I want you to actually set yourself up for your notebook so that you get in the habit of doing this a certain way. So I find that it's helpful for my students and for me, I learned this just because it's helpful for me, is to divide your paper in half and then make yourself a grid. Now you can use a straight edge or whatever, a ruler, to make yourself a grid and divide your paper off. Okay, and you need about 4 lines or so in each of your boxes, and you can adjust your grid as you work some problems and realize what kind of space you need. Now we're going to be working on page 264 and 265, and on the top of your notebook I want you to write your formula. So we've got part over base equals rate, which is the percent, over 100. I want you to write that really big. Now for each one, I want you to come over here, and we're just going to write P equals, B equals, R equals every time in the same order. Don't change the order or anything. And all we're going to do here is identify the parts, write the formula, and set it up. Okay? So let's look at number 1. It says Victor owes his uncle $1,000. Recently, he gave his uncle $200. The payment was 20% of the money he owes. So, see, for each situation, identify and label the base part and the rate. So, if we're looking at using our notebook here, and it says he owes his uncle $1,000. So, which one is that going to be? The part, the base, or the rate? If you borrowed $1,000, well, that would be your total amount, right? So it would be the base. I'm using a pen for you to see, but I'd really rather use a pencil. Recently, he gave his uncle $200. So which one is that? Does it have a percent sign? Can't be the rate if it has a percent sign. Has to be the part, because it's only a portion of what he gave, what he borrowed. And this has got a percent sign. That is a dead giveaway. Often I like to just go ahead and fill those in first, because I know immediately that it's going to be my rate. Notice I dropped my percent sign because I'm going to use my proportion formula. So I got part over base equals rate over 100. I want you to write the formula because we got to learn it, okay? Then line equals line over 100. Part, use what you've written here. Part is going to go here, see? 200. Base is going to go here. And 20 is going to go here. So there's really no math to do on these. You're just getting used to identifying your pieces and putting them in the spot. So then you can go to number 2, and let's keep working. On a test with 80 problems, we know, I don't really like for you to go ahead and do PB&R until you've read it, but we know that they're going to be the same as the first one. Sophie got 72 problems right. In other words, she answered 90% of the problems correctly. So P equals, don't forget your equal sign, B equals, R equals. Now, 90% is so easy, I just put it first. Now we're left with part and base. Which one is which? So that's most of the time what gives people trouble. But think about it. If your test has 80 problems and you only got 72 right, which one is the whole? Which one is the portion? Well, obviously 80 is how many is on the whole test, and 72 is the part. And then I still want you to write it. I know it's a lot of extra writing. You don't want to write it. I got it, okay? But we need to learn that. So then line equals line over 100. And then we're using the list. Don't look back at your problem. Use your list to figure out what needs to go where. This is an important math skill, identifying what you have in the problem and what you're looking for. So we're trying to work on some math skills so that as the problems get harder, they're not going to be harder for you because you've already got the skills to work on. Okay, now let's keep going. The Kang family made a down payment of this on a new car. The down payment was 20% of the purchase price of that. So they've got some of those words in there. P equals, B equals, R equals. So we know 20% is right there. The down payment was 20% of the purchase price of $13,700. So that of is a dead giveaway that's the base. Notice I leave the commas out because they're so often, my students will put them as decimals, okay, in the calculator. And then the down payment obviously is only a portion of what you paid on the price of the car. Then we got part over base equals rate over 100. Then line equals line over 100 is the empty formula. I'm using this stuff to decide what to put. 20 goes right over 100. Part goes on the top. Make sure you put it in the right spot. Base goes on the bottom. Also, be noticing as you set these up, these are supposed to be equivalent fractions. So if this fraction is a proper fraction, in other words, the top number is smaller than the bottom, then this has to have the small number on top and the big number on the bottom. The part is not always the small number. Please never assume that. You'll get yourself into trouble. It just has to be equal. So if your top number is bigger here than the bottom number, then the top number here has to be bigger than the bottom number. All right, let's do let me skip and let's do number 5. I think you've probably got the hang of this after we do number 5. This year, Raphael has 60 regular customers, which is 150% of the 40 regular customers he had last year. So we know it's PBR by now, right? So notice I'm not going to go do this every time in every box. I want to read it and do each thing at a time. So says that he's got 150%, so that goes here. The percent sign's got to be the rate, right? Now, we got to figure out 60 and 40, and notice we don't just look at the first number goes here and the second number goes here. We got to read it. So he has 60 regular customers, which is 150% of the 40 he had last year. So what's the base here? The base is 40. Of the 40 he had last year, that of is a dead giveaway for base. We talked about that in the last video. And it said 60 is, so that tells you that's the part. But the part, notice, is bigger than the base this time. Uh-oh. Okay? Told you not to make that assumption. Write your formula down. Even again, write it again. Line equals line over 100. Put your rate in first. It's so easy to figure out. Now, where does part go? On the top, even though it's the big number. Where does base go? On the bottom, even though it's a small number. Look at your equivalent fraction. 60 over 40, that's improper, right? So look over here, 150 over 100, that's improper, right? So doesn't that make sense that an improper fraction can't equal a proper fraction? So I have a lot of students who they don't like that improper fraction, so you know what they do? They just turn it around because it makes them feel better. So they will write 40 over 60 equals 150 over 100. This doesn't seem to bother them so bad, but they don't like this, so they just flip it around because that makes them feel so much better. But think about this in math terms. Can you have a proper fraction equal an improper fraction? And if you're not sure, just take your calculator out and let's do it. N over D, 40 over 60, hit enter. That's 2 over 3. Now put 150 over 100, hit enter. That's 3 over 2. Does that equal each other? Is that the same? No. Okay, that's not equal. So you can't just do what makes you feel good. You've got to set it up the way you know how to set it up. So continue to work these problems. In the next video, we're going to do some math on percent.